Kirsty, how is planning for SoFest 2026 going?
Good. It's March. We're in a really good shape. So obviously by now, venue is totally booked, deposits all paid. We
Great.
have 80 people bought tickets signed up coming, which is incredible for March. The speaker lineup is confirmed, workshop hosts, of which there are 16, all confirmed. We're now into the sort of detail and the touches. So there's behind the scenes, we've got an amazing project manager called Tony, and she is designing welcome packs and information and getting people to say who they want to share a tent with, all the way down to food allergies, to accessibility needs. And then come April and May, we have the welcome gatherings, and lots of detail goes out about how to get there and what to expect. So it's in really good shape.
Lovely. So that's a really good point about what to expect. So if somebody's been living under a rock, hasn't heard all of the good stuff about SoFest from last year,
Hmm.
I call it a conference in a field, which I feel is a really good shorthand. But you're like rolling your eyes because you don't like the word conference in this
Yeah,
application.
because I see SoFest as the kind of enormous workshop that all of us would absolutely love to be part of. And what I mean by that is you're with people you want to be with and you've chosen to be with. You know, every single conversation has possibility to take you on a path that you just don't know where it's going to go, or it's going to be rich and diverse. You're with like-minded souls. You're outdoors and in nature. And what we mean by that is we have a massive, massive teepee that's T-shaped, that is like our central point. We call it the main stage, where all the speakers and the gatherings happen. And then we have three other tents where the workshop zones are. So people can then, we go off into smaller groups. We sort of play by our rules of like, we would all want to have a great workshop design. So what I mean by that is the breaks are 30 minutes. You're not trying to cram everybody through the loos and to get a drink and a snack in 10 minutes. There's fresh air, there's plenty of daylight. You're also with, what's different is you're with people for the evening as well. So you're having dinner together. We have big communal meal. There's the opportunity to sit outside around the campfire and sing, or go and do the quiz, or just hang out and just like go quiet whatever you need. So it isn't four walls, dark room, sit to listen to the sage on the stage for like 30, 40 minutes. Like, let's just be clear, the speakers have 20 minutes.
That
20
is a
minutes.
short amount of time. I complain about that in other places.
No, I think it's good. Because it's really high touch. Everybody gets to talk to each other. So that's the other thing. Like, the speakers and the workshop hosts are from people who've bought tickets. So I think that's really important. So they want to be there. So they're not just waltzing in to do their slot and then leaving again. Like, they're there to do their own learning, development, connection. So it creates a very different vibe.
Mhm. Okay, so maybe I should start calling it a workshop in a field.
Yeah, God, imagine that. That's a big workshop. I like it.
It is. And I'd love to know a little bit more from you about the inner field, the in nature, and the reactions you've had from people from last year about it.
Well, it's only been positive. Oh, the one bit of feedback was some people said their hay fever. And I said, I can't control the hay fever
No.
or the pollen that floats around. I think people were like, okay, we really get that it's beneficial to be in nature. And because they'd never been to something like this before, and or the space that we were using, many people said we just couldn't even envisage what to expect. And I think people were a bit apprehensive that it was going to be like uneven ground, it's going to be really muddy and boggy, or like it's a big space that they had to traverse. And so when they arrived and they see Chalkney Meadows, where we have SoFest, and it's beautifully contained. And what I mean by that, you can walk end to end. So end to end would be from where the glamping pods are to the far side of the open field. Would take you maybe 6, 7 minutes. And also everything is quite flat and even, beautifully lit, lots of fairy lights, very twinkly. It's a solar, it's eco, it's a green site as well. So they generate all their own power, which we think's fantastic. So yeah, it's a nice space.
Yeah, it
I
hits
like
all
it.
those kind of the green credentials. It hits all the like the mental health and well-being credentials, and also it kind of works, I think, for the most part for accessibility. So I've got some
Yeah.
accessibility needs myself. I'm not in a wheelchair, but my mobility is definitely an issue, and that was something I was worried about because I
Yeah.
don't do festivals. I like nature and outdoors. I'm a gardener, but I don't go and sit in a field. But actually, having been there, I was absolutely fine and loved it and enjoyed it and can't wait to go back again.
Oh, some other things as well, like the site is brilliant. They can do hearing loops. They're
Hmm.
very clear about that. If people need to drive physically right up to the door of the main tent, that is
Yep.
totally possible. You saw it. We were
Yep. I
bringing
did that
cars.
myself, more or less.
Yeah. And yeah, it's wheelchair friendly for sure. So yeah, everything is possible. And then just on that, on accessibility from a dietary perspective,
Hmm.
we got some really great feedback from people who were celiac or vegan or like high allergy.
Hmm.
They said they were like, we felt really safe because we felt
Yeah.
very cared for.
Yeah.
And it was very evident that the caterers like took time and effort to understand my
Yeah.
needs and therefore created food that I could actually eat.
Yeah.
And there was enough of it as well. So
Yeah.
that was music to my ears.
And I'm special in that way too. And so I was one of your gluten frees. And yeah, often you get like the horrible version, or everybody gets a fantastic cake, and I get poached pears, which I'm sick of. So it's really nice that you had an equal kind of
Oh,
value
cool.
product, I think was really good. You didn't get the rubbish version,
Good.
the afterthought. So that was really important.
I
So
just something I was thinking about there, Joe. You said, I don't do festivals. The only reason I call it a festival is it just sounds good, SoFest.
yeah,
So
it does.
please, if anyone's sitting there thinking I don't do festivals, it is just a massive workshop in a
Yeah.
field. Think
But
of it
I
like that.
think it's got the vibe of the festival without the mud. It's not Glastonbury where you're dragging your beer through the mud and you don't sleep for 3 days and the portaloos are horrible. But it's got the festival vibe in the sense that it's welcoming and people are lovely and it's in the summer and it's outdoors.
Yeah.
And it's a really pleasant, playful experience, even though some of the topics can be quite deep.
Mm,
Whether that's technically or cognitively deep or emotionally deep. And we'll get onto the sessions a bit more in another video. But I think that it's the vibe that I
yeah.
think is festival like. And I like the vibe bit. There's something you have called an impact ticket. So,
Hmm.
I can go and buy my ticket quite easily. That's great. But what if I can't go? What if I don't want to go? What if I'm an organization? I'd like to support you and someone, but actually, I don't want to necessarily buy a whole ticket or
Yeah.
something. How does that work?
So one of the things that was really important to us from the beginning, and when I say we, there's a small team at SOF, and then there's trusted advisors, and just a community of people who attend lots of school and facilitation events. And we wanted to make it an accessible event to those who maybe it's more the financials were unable to afford to come because the tickets we recognise um, are more than your average conference because
I
of the
don't
glamping,
even,
because of the food.
but actually, I don't think they're even more than an average conference. But they do include all of your accommodation and your food. So actually, I
True.
think they're better value for money in some senses than
Cool.
another conference. But they're not. It's not a cheap ticket.
No, it's a four-figure ticket. It's £1,600. So we wanted to be able to make the SoFest available to other people. So we then created something called an impact ticket. So an impact ticket is positioned to those who are, and this is global south, the majority from the global south, LGBTQ plus, people with accessibility, unseen disabilities. I also wanted to support the new upcoming facilitators and trainers under 30. So we've created these impact tickets, and we're saying we are seeking people to, or organizations to sponsor a ticket and therefore be able to give someone another person the opportunity to come to SoFest and get all the best bits that they can out of it and develop and grow and continue to grow themselves. We also, if your organization does sponsor an impact ticket, we then say, do you want to mentor the person that is a receiver of your ticket? That's not a must condition, but it's an invitation again. We also have made it possible this year that if people want to like part contribute or part sponsor a ticket. So the lowest amount we've said is £33 plus VAT. It's just a figure we came up with. And then we've got people who've bought half a ticket, for example. So right now we have got 2.5 impact tickets.
Amazing. So I can go and chuck 30 quid in the bucket towards the ticket for
exactly
someone.
that.
Nice.
So, and I would love, I mean, last year we had 7 impact tickets. We're nowhere near that right now. So if anyone's listening to this thinking, oh, I do want to get involved, you would be so welcome. For the business minded amongst you going, is this tax deductible? Your accountant will tell you it's not. So this is down to philanthropic, good heart, goodwill, and the possibility of picking up a mentee and someone you might then work in your business because you do find talent.
So why am I at SoFest? Well, I'm actually lucky enough to have an impact ticket. So a good friend of mine, Victor, who is speaking tomorrow actually, he put out on his LinkedIn that Kirsty was just basically giving away free tickets to young people who are in facilitation or coaches and they want to develop in their skills and their career. And of course, me being on LinkedIn 24/7, I saw it and I was like, yes, how do I apply for this?
Tell us about Louise.
So what I absolutely love is this time last year, I didn't know who Louise was. And she applied for an impact ticket, as you heard in the video. And she came along and she's like this pocket rocket of enthusiasm. She got involved straight away. She made herself known to me and the team, was asking questions. She came up with ideas. She was very forthright. She's like, have you thought about this for next year? And could we do this for next year? And I'm like, oh, okay. And what we have to create SoFest is the trusted advisors. So I invited her to be a trusted advisor. And so she has then continued her own personal development as a facilitator, as someone who's learning to run a business by being part of the organizing element of SoFest. She has also, though, got a really great mentor as a result of having an impact ticket. And I'm going to name Elaine Gosnan from Blue Gnu is her mentor. And we're really delighted that I know they still talk and have meetings. And so by sponsoring the impact ticket, Elaine and her team have been able to give back, but also cultivate some young talent in our industry. But I also know from Louise and talking to her, she's learned lots being around other facilitators who are probably 10, 15, and in some of our cases, 20 years older and ahead of her in the journey. And she's just really valued that experience. And I've really valued having her on our team as well.
And having that energy and that freshness, and those of us that have been around the block once or twice, it can be easy to fall into that, been there, seen that, done that trap. But when you've got somebody with that fresh energy, it does force you to look at things with a new lens, and that can be really invigorating, which I like.
And I love it. And she's taught me lots. She's a young woman of color. She literally is so good on her language. And she's like, yeah, you can say that. Don't say it like that. No, this is what we need. This is what we don't need. You're like, okay. So I valued having her on the team.
Amazing.